Welcome back to Hearing Things with Julie and Brad. We have a very special guest star today, and this is my mom. This is Ann DiMatteo, and she looks like she could be Brad's mom more than my mom because I look like my dad. So, we wanted to highlight our moms in 2 separate episodes that'll come out, over a period of time. And we're starting with the little Italian lady to my left. Looks like my right, but the camera's reversed. Oh, and Mom was my fiercest advocate growing up and still is. She's my biggest supporter, and we just wanted to have our moms on to thank them for everything they've done for us, and we wanted to have them lend their expertise of raising a deaf or hard of hearing child to kind of advise others. And in the middle of all this, why we see smirking, is because Maggie the dog is throwing her ball up on the table. So you'll see some throwing happening as we go.
She cannot be denied.
Will not be denied. All right, so thank you for raising such an awesome person.
Oh,
I'm sure Brad thinks that every day. Just an amazing job you did with your disabled child.
No.
Well done, Ann. Well done. All right. So I want to set the stage. As I mentioned earlier, you're really well versed in parenting and in parenting a child with special needs such as myself. And with a physical disability that not everyone understands or continues to understand, or definitely didn't understand when I was young. So I'm going to give you a scenario or two.
Okay.
And you're going to present kind of how you would have handled it in the past, or how you would advise parents to handle it now if their child is hard of hearing or deaf.
Okay.
Okay? Mm-hmm. And Maggie is eagerly waiting for her ball. So we'll give her one more
throw. All right,
throw.
sorry, there we go.
There you go, Mags. Okay.
We got serious. I didn't want to throw the ball in the middle of a serious question.
She's not going to stop.
First scenario. You're taking your hard of hearing child to a new doctor for the first time. And this doctor and medical staff and administrative staff, they don't know your kid. What are you going to do? How do you alert the facilities, the people there, the kind of, talk about what I might need in that type of environment? But what would you do? Or what did you do, I should say?
Well,
I'm sure that's something you ran into.
We would tell them, first of all, that you're hearing impaired, mm-hmm. and that they would have to face you frontal.
Right.
Face on.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have to speak very clearly and loudly, mm-hmm. but not yelling. Right. And we always remember the story of you getting your license where what you have, a state trooper?
State trooper.
Oh,
and when you told him that you were hearing impaired, yes. and that he would have to speak clearly to you because you could not look at him, right. of course, while you were driving. Right. What did he do, Julie?
Okay, Julie, we are taking a right.
Yes. So I would say to them, please speak clearly
yep.
and loudly, but not yelling, of course. Right. And as we were told from the very beginning that we were never to learn signing, to learn ASL, American Sign mm-hmm. Language, because there was no need for it for you. So that would be my advice, is to, look at you, speak clearly and loudly.
And you make a great point that amplification does not equal clarification.
That's
and I think
correct.
that's a real misconception for people. You can say the same word as loud as you want. Mm-hmm. Chances are we're not going to get it still because it's the way the sound is being processed. So it's always good to speak in a a louder voice, but a respectful, loud tone, not a screaming like the poor state trooper that gave me my driving test.
And the same thing happened when you first went to Lexington High School.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say that? Mm-hmm. And you were told that you were to get
Maggie.
Clearly speaking teachers. And
I just want to pause and point out that on this show for the hearing impaired about hearing loss, we have a squeaky ball.
Yes,
so sorry
yes.
about
It's an
that,
egg. It's an egg.
There it is.
Yeah.
No, continue.
And, teachers without facial hair,
right.
men. And to speak loudly. And one of Julie's teachers had a mustache, and he spoke so soft.
Oh, no, both?
Oh, yes.
Oh, come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
was my geometry teacher.
Yes.
And the only thing that saved me was that I'm a decent artist, so I could keep my geometry notebook looking just lovely with the shapes and everything. I didn't know what was going on, but I had a great looking geometry notebook and I figured it out.
Yep.
Oh, it was brutal.
Yeah.
He was a very nice man, but just did not get it.
But speaking clearly and
Yeah, that's why I always make sure that I don't have too much hanging over my lip, because I read lips, so if it's too shaggy, I know that other people with hearing loss are going to have problems.
I try
So
that, do that
You
too.
do too.
I was
Good.
gonna
You
say,
do great.
Getting to be an old
You do
Italian
great.
woman now, you get an eye on these things. All right. So, second scenario
Yes.
made me laugh when I came up with it, but I thought it was perfect. So, it's about pool party.
Thank you, Julie.
Dropping me off at a pool party. Unfamiliar house.
Yeah.
Adults that don't know me well or know me at all, depending. It's a situation that can go from safe to unsafe very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
And you're young.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yes.
Yes, Ma, I'm not 50 dropping me off at a
No,
pool
no,
party.
no. I'm talking
yeah.
about
Like 8, 7, 8.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, people listening, Julie was not an avid pool person anyway. So, you would want to pack the towel. And what else would Julie want to bring in her bag? 4 to 6 books. Okay? And
Brad's like, that's my kind of party.
the things I would tell the adults in charge would be that the hearing aids cannot get wet
Right.
under no circumstances. And when she is in the pool, the hearing aids have to be in a secure place and a safe place. And we're laughing because Maggie will
back.
not stop putting the ball on the table.
If you thought this was going to be a serious show,
In fact,
As soon as you knew there were 2 DiMattios in it, you knew it was going down the tubes, right? So, Ma, sorry to interrupt you. So the hearing aids would have to be in?
yeah.
in a secure place where they couldn't get splashed,
Right.
or someone could step on them. They have to be put away.
Did you tell the parents that, or did you have Julie?
Yes,
you
no.
told-
I would,
Okay.
because she would be young. That's why I asked her what age.
Yeah, right.
And when she is in the water, she has to be watched constantly, because everything's visual for her. If there's a problem, like everybody out of the water now, she's
Right.
not going to know. And the other thing that I always had was maybe I should stay, and then I look like the overpowering mother. But
But it's a safety issue.
right,
Oh, absolutely.
right,
Safety for in
Everyone.
emergencies, but also safety for the equipment.
yes.
That's key.
And if she didn't want to go into the water, if Julie didn't want to go into the water, don't force her to go in. Let her go off and sit and read her books. And the other thing is, if she wanted to come home, give me a call and I'll come and get her. As I said,
true.
pool parties for Julie were.
Did you have a lot of them?
I mean, enough. My grandmother had a pool, but I loved being in that pool. I was like a little fish all the time. But it was my family. It was my
Right,
cousins.
that's
It was my
different.
uncles, my aunts, my grandparents,
Yeah.
my parents. They knew what to do. It was safe. It was familiar. My hearing aids would keep in the kitchen. Like, there was no risk. But going to a pool party
Yeah.
where you're removing one whole sense,
Yeah.
you're automatically taken out of any play activity that's happening because the world is so auditory.
Yes.
How am I going to play Marco Polo
I
in
was
the
just
pool?
thinking that.
Okay, it's not going to be a whole lot of fun for me. So it's a stressful thing. Same thing with sleepovers. I didn't love those on the couple that I went on.
Yeah.
The same thing. You take your hearing aids out so I can go to sleep at night. And then if there's activity happening with my friends or they want to, do something else, I'm sleeping through it if nobody wakes me up.
Turn the lights off.
The lights are off, so you can't talk at night, across the beds, even with my hearing aids in, because I can't see them. So there's a lot of little nuanced things that people don't realize
Did you talk about
comes with
sleepovers?
being deaf or hard of hearing.
Did you talk about sleepovers too? Same
I
thing?
didn't. We really
didn't do
didn't
a
have
ton of
that
them.
many.
No. I hated them.
Yeah.
But again, I slept over with my cousins or my grandmother's house. It was
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah.
it was different. So, thank you, Maggie, for making your presence known once again. So, thinking about the time for my diagnosis in 1978-ish, 1977, 78, right? Until now, you've been on this journey with me for all of it.
Yes. Yes.
What is one thing you've noticed about how the world has changed for the hard of hearing.
I
Deaf and hard of hearing
think
people, like myself.
the biggest thing is it's not so uncommon.
Right.
Interesting.
You know, I don't want to say that you were an oddity, but you were.
I was. Because when I started elementary school, the law, Chapter 766, which guarantees a free and appropriate public education for all students as equality, being in the least restrictive environment, was just passed a few years before I started school. So I was one of, if not, I think I was the first mainstream student in the public school system where I grew up before we moved to Lexington. And they didn't know what to do with me. I spent a lot of time in the boiler room with the speech therapist.
Yes.
Sitting with my back to her while she would say words or phrases that I would have to be forced to repeat. I couldn't see her. And that woman smelled like salami. Okay? I'll say it. I don't care. It's true. All right? That didn't help. When you can't hear and you're already missing a sense and you got salami lady sitting there talking to you, it's already miserable.
I mean,
it was awful. They didn't know what to do with me.
I mean, even Barbie has hearing aids.
Barbie has hearing aids.
Yes.
Yes, the one you gave me.
Yeah, Barbie has hearing aids, but and so many advancements have happened in the classroom.
Yep, absolutely.
When you were in school young, you know, the children are embraced now instead of looking upon as a chore. You know, it was almost like they were afraid of you. And they weren't afraid of you. It's just that they didn't know what to do.
Yeah, people did. I mean, you should be afraid of me now. But,
I am.
Yeah.
But back then, you don't have, like I said, at the time, just about everybody with a disability or learn differently or physical disability were in separate schools, in separate classrooms. You're in separate facilities, institutions. There was separation. So I come rolling in. I'm the first one you got. You don't know what to do. Like it was really hard. You know?
I can't imagine.
And your speech was so clear.
Well, this is a misconception that he and I get a lot.
Yes.
That's why we don't use the word deaf for a lot of reasons, but little d deaf. But you know, I love when people say, you hear everything I say. I don't know what I'm missing.
Right.
No.
So there's a very complicated. We talk about it being an invisible disability quite a bit, and I think that was something that played into, thank you, Maggie, played into people's perceptions of me from a very young age.
Yeah.
And also captions on TV,
Oh,
movies,
right.
Yep, finally.
theater productions, like when we went to the Met,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Metropolitan Opera in front of you.
On the seat in front of you, on the seat
Oh,
back
cool.
of the chair in front of you, there's a translation bar
Oh, right.
that, you know, the opera's in Italian. You don't know Italian, you kind of want to know what they're singing about, right? But somebody is usually dying of, like, hypothyroid for an hour and a half, so you don't really need all the words to get the story. But yeah, it's cool. It translates. So I can get the English depending on the opera I'm watching. If someone next to me who may speak German can get their version. The woman sitting next to me. Do you remember when we went to the Met? La Boheme when I turned 40? That woman just. I don't know why people talk to me. They do it to you too. We know more people's life stories that we didn't ask for just by showing up. So this woman kept talking and talking and talking. And I'm like, lady, I just want this opera to start. Like, stop talking to me. And she's like, so what does this button do? She's like jamming the button on the seat back in front of her. I was like, do I choose violence today or do I choose my powers for good? I almost said to her, that's where you put your drink order. This close. And I said, no, we're going to use our powers for good today. It is your birthday. You can be nice about this. So I showed her how to use it. And then finally the show started and Mimi died for an hour and a half from typhoid or something, whatever she was dying from. And the lady stopped, but it was fine. Well, so yeah, there's all kinds of cool things in our environments now that weren't there before that are helpful.
You know, and another thing is, look at how the molds have progressed since then, Julie. The sparkly pink ones.
Go off time.
Yeah.
And you show them instead of hiding them with your hair.
Yep. No, I want to be seen. I want it to be known.
And I know of someone that has Bruins ones.
Oh, yeah, that's me. That's me.
Okay.
So I have the black and gold. Yeah.
Okay.
This is a page from Julie.
Right.
I have the same, exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, I hate having it hidden. And so Julie showed me her sparkly pink ones. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want molds that people can see.
You were going to get pink ones, but it didn't
I was
work
going to
with
get
your
pink
skin
ones,
tone,
yeah.
right?
But my skin tone,
could've
it would have been harder for them to actually see it.
Right.
So I decided,
Yeah.
my audiologist said that you can have two different colors. And like, black and gold, baby.
Of course.
Done. All right. So, other things before we do that.
Well, let me just tell you about when I was
Anne-
studying.
Anne has been let out of the barn. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Anne. Go.
talking about the opera, and you said consumption. When I was studying, doing some arias from La Boheme,
For those that don't know, my mom is a classically trained opera singer.
not anymore though. The my teacher, who I think he was in his 80s, he was saying, well, you're dying of consumption. Well, because I was like 16, 18 years old, I didn't know what consumption was. I thought, because this was in, which one did we go see?
La Boheme.
No,
No,
other
La
one.
Traviata.
La Traviata. So she was a woman of the world. So I thought she got pregnant. So I thought, being 16, 18 years old, that she was pregnant. I didn't know consumption meant TB.
That's fantastic.
So my hearing loss, just so everybody knows, Mom, it came out of nowhere, right? Like
Yeah.
it was
Right.
like overnight loss.
Yes, it
Sudden,
did.
just bang, no warning, nothing. No
Nothing.
fevers, no infections.
Nothing. It was
Literally overnight.
nerve deafness.
Nerve
the
sensory
nerves,
neural deaf.
all the nerves just started to just,
Die.
yeah.
But I have a theory.
Yes, you do.
Of course you do.
I know you
Theory.
do. No.
I think.
No.
I
Mom
know
says
what you're
no,
gonna
Julie.
say.
Mom
No.
says
You
no.
were singing opera with me when you were pregnant. With
It's
me.
your fault? Is that what you're
I
trying to say?
think the high notes. I think the high notes did it. I'm convinced that you're singing with the high notes in utero
Yes.
and as an infant.
Yes.
Because you can hit. I mean, you should have heard her when she was young. Oh my God.
Yeah.
She can
Yeah.
hit notes that could break a glass.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's the reason.
I'm convinced.
That's the reason. So it's your fault.
That's
Nice.
why.
No. Right. What else do you have for me?
So,
moving on.
kind of a self-centered question, but we ask it anyway. You've been watching us kind of grow along in our
Yes.
work together. What are your hopes and dreams for us? What would you love to see happen for us?
I definitely want you two on TV. Definitely. Now, Brad is probably dying 1,000 deaths, but
1001.
okay, but he can kind of
I
be
can
the
just sit
straight
there.
man
Yeah.
on the television
Right.
show.
True.
You know,
That's true.
and you can be
The personality, the fun.
well. But I want to see you guys just branch out and.
Funny you're talking about TV. We're doing a collaboration with Stoneham Cable Access.
No way.
And we went to, yeah, this is right hot off the press.
Ah.
Hot off the presses. Surprise! We went to their studio and walked into the big studio and they started flicking the lights on.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to look at him to know what he was thinking.
The angels are singing to Julie. She's like, I have arrived.
I think I said that. I was like, I have arrived. This is where I am meant to be. So I would love to be
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
fantastic.
more widely distributed.
Well, you deserve it. The work and the research and everything that the two of you are doing, it needs to be heard, no pun intended, by everyone.
Puns are always intended.
Okay?
I appreciate that.
Thank
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
thank
do.
you.
That's the hope. I mean, today's show is my man on the moon statement. You know, they said they're going to put a man on the moon. Today's show is my man on the moon statement.
Mm-hmm.
Brad, not so much.
I'll be there. I'll be there for support, I guess.
We'll give them
gonna happen.
technical. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
So we always end with books, but we thought we'd mix it up tonight. TV, movie, entertainment. What would
Okay.
you recommend for the people to watch?
All right. Movie with the Pope being selected.
Oh,
which
yeah, that
is
was a good one.
awesome. I would say Conclave.
The book is
seen that.
excellent
I've seen
too.
that.
Yep. They're
Conclave,
great.
wonderful stars in it, Tucci and
John Lithgow.
Lithgow and
right.
Fiennes,
Fiennes.
whatever how you want to say his
I
name.
still call him Ralph, even though I know that's wrong.
Ralph Fiennes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's a great
Great.
movie.
Yeah.
What's your movie recommendation? Anything else?
TV, yes, and totally opposite. I love watching hour-long comedians. However, you have to be careful because they can be risque but two very wholesome guys. The best is Tom Papa on Netflix,
Yep.
Papa. But if you're going to watch him, make sure you start with his first filming. Because at that time, I believe he's just getting married and doesn't have his children. And by the time you go through, he has maybe 4 or 5 specials on Netflix, and the last one, his children are going off to college. He's hysterical, and there's other than wholesome, Julie. That does not sound funny. Wholesome does not sound
he's very
funny.
witty.
Yes.
He's very creative in his storytelling.
Yes.
He's very relatable. And he doesn't need to put in a lot of curse words or craft language or like inappropriate phrasing or anything like that to make it funny.
Right.
He's a great storyteller.
It's just marvelous. And when he talks about his dog.
Oh,
We have
the
a
dog.
The dog.
Oh, Frank.
Frank is a pug.
Frank is a pug.
And to
The
whenever
delivery of Tom Papa talking about this dog, I've seen this 100 times, and I laugh harder every single time I see it.
So it's
fantastic.
worth it. Yeah.
And then the other guy you like is Nate Burgatzse.
Nate Burgatzse
right? You told me about
he's from Tennessee, very laid back, very slow in his delivery, but he has shot out. He's got all kinds of
He has a book out that just came out,
Yes.
I think.
Oh,
yeah. And Tom Papa
has
books. I recommended one on the show
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
a couple episodes ago because I just cracked up laughing in the middle of the night reading, sitting up in bed. He's just hysterical.
Yeah, so
really,
that would
really
be my
talented.
recommendation.
Really talented storyteller for sure. Awesome. So, Brad, do you want to go next or I'm going to
Sure.
go?
Thank
Okay,
you.
I'll go.
move
So-
this. What do you got?
I have Mythbusters. So it's a science show where they bust myths. So they one of my favorite ones where they showed that it was possible to escape from Alcatraz using a duct tape boat. That's pretty cool. And they did the Mentos and Coke. They've done that.
Oh, okay.
They've done all sorts of stuff. So it's just fantastic. It's really humorous and it's scientific. It makes science fun. And I think that the Adam and Jamie, they're the co-hosts. They remind of
I can see
the
that.
dynamic.
Yep, for
They're
sure.
totally. So she's definitely like
Yeah.
Adam, and I'm much
Yeah.
more like Jamie.
I can see that.
So it's I feel a lot of kinship to how their rapport works.
So
I love the show. And why are you laughing over there?
I am dying because
Why are you laughing?
Because I've seen the show a couple times. It's really good.
Yeah.
But the one show that Mark and I watched when our first Boston Terrier, Tessie, was alive, was right around Thanksgiving, and it was a Thanksgiving show. And they were showing what would happen if a frozen turkey fell off the counter onto a dog. And the model they used, like a fake
ballistics
foam
gel.
model, whatever, was a Boston Terrier. So Mark and I are watching this thing, and we see this frozen turkey fall off the counter right in the middle of the Boston Terrier's back, and the bar goes. Ever since then, Mark has been having a massive anxiety attack from when the turkey comes home on Tuesday until we carve the thing on Thursday. Every year. What do? I have no help at all. 'Cause I will sprinkle in things such as, hey, I was watching Discovery Channel the other day. I don't know if you ever saw the episode of Mythbusters when they dropped the frozen turkey on the Boston Terrier. He gets very upset. So that's why I cracked up laughing when he said Mythbusters. I'm like,
I love that show. It was great. It's
It's
not on
really
anymore,
good.
but it's a really good show.
It's really good.
I enjoyed
So,
it. Yeah. So there you
you
go. So
ever-
that's mine. What do you got?
catch the episode with the turkey.
The turkey. Yeah.
What do you have, Julie?
What do I have? TV, Sopranos, no hesitation. We were talking about this last
Yeah,
night.
I haven't seen it.
That you haven't seen it.
No.
Sopranos.
I did HBO growing when it was on. So.
Okay.
Sopranos
All right, we'll be quiet.
is so special to me because it was such a unique show. And it was one of the few shows that portrayed Italian Americans in a way that wasn't just mafia. Like the mafioso was part of it, but it got into family life, family structure, customs, tradition, relationships. It didn't go back on that default that we always see in TV media. All Italians are in the mob.
Yeah.
You know, and then we all, have high hair and furs and nails and, crafts and gumas on the side and everything else. I mean, stereotypes come from somewhere, but I'm just telling you, generally speaking, that is how we're portrayed, and it really makes me upset sometimes. It's
And
like,
I
if you
don't
lay
have
off of
plastic on my sofa.
You don't have plastic on your sofa. But it's just, it was really refreshing to see something so well done for so many seasons that had so many layers of our culture. And it's also special to me because we would go over Uncle Tony's on Sunday nights as a family with anyone that was
because
around.
we didn't have HBO.
Right.
Would gather and sit all in the living room and watch the show, and it was fantastic. And I love it because I feel like I'm visiting with some of my older relatives that have passed
Yes.
Oh, wow.
when I watch the show. And I
Okay.
see like things on the set in the houses that bring me back to my grandmother's house, and
That's
I just
right.
laugh my head off. It's a different experience. I'm curious to see, because you
Yeah.
didn't grow up Italian,
Right.
what you take from it.
Yeah. I'm still not Italian, by the way.
Hang around
Hey,
here
no, that's
long
long
enough.
enough. You might get a little bit of it. We're at the Matteo, everybody. I'm curious if you get into
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
See
No, I've.
what you take from it, because I'd be sitting there laughing my head off, and Mark was just like,
Wow, yeah.
"What's
so
going on?" I'm crying. I mean, it's the ridiculousness. So that's my pick for television,
Excellent.
for sure. Well, that's it. Anything else?
No, thank you for having me.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
And
We love having
Maggie
you.
and
Yeah,
her
and
mom.
Maggie.
Maggie. Come here. She's like, what? Come here. We'd love to get her up on the camera,
Yeah.
but she's too fast for us.
I know.
Let's see if Brad can get her to pop up for a minute. Come on, Mags, come on, come on.
Hold on.
There
You
she
know
is.
what? Here we
Around,
go.
move the camera and say hi to Maggie, everybody. Maggie!
Sorry, I
just
think I
had a
made
quick
everybody
moment. That's it.
seasick for a minute, but.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for joining in. Take care.